Hey, this is Chris Braden. Welcome to the Sport of Marketing Podcast, Episode 1, the Kickoff Edition. Hallelujah. It's finally here. I've been getting a lot of messages and heat from you guys saying, hey, Braden, what's taking you so long to get that podcast going? I don't know. Let's talk about that.
With over 20 years in the marketing game and 9 years on air, his marketing campaigns have been impactful locally and featured nationally. He has learned from some of the best around and spent his own cash to do it. His sports takes are legendary, and he is a buff for life. When it comes to marketing, he is always a winner. Add all this up, and who do you get? Chris Braden, of course. Join him and follow along as he shares marketing strategies that keep him in the game. This is the Sport of Marketing. Here's Chris.
So what took me so long? I got to be honest with you. I overthought everything. When I decided to do this podcast, I went out, bought all the equipment, set up a studio in my house, went and set up some interviews with some amazing people. I felt the pressure, from being in the media. I thought there was like a really high standard out there people expected from me. And I have a lot of colleagues that aren't even in media out there doing these amazing podcasts. They're not really even podcasts. They're more like studio interviews, and they're out there traveling around doing these amazing interviews with a lot of great business leaders. And I was like, I can do that. I'm a professional, right? So anyway, I'm all ready. The Sport of Marketing Podcast is going to kick off with John Lee Dumas himself, JLD, host of Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's going to be epic. I'm going to go out, put ad spend behind it. I am going to launch this thing in a big, big way. So I scheduled the interview. It was like 6 to 8 weeks until the interview was going to happen. So that was one reason why things took so long. So the day of the interview, he was in Puerto Rico. I'm here in Colorado. I think the interview was going to start at like 6:30 a.m. here in Colorado. So I have him connected on Zoom. He's on there. I have this crappy connection. So I have to log out of Zoom. I log back into Zoom. And, I'm 2 minutes of my interview just wasted right there because he's on a really, really tight schedule. I start asking him questions, and I forgot to turn notifications off on my computer. My computer was going nuts, binging left and right, and I was horrified, but I'm like, I'm a pro. I'll take care of this in post. No big deal. So I asked the first question, and here's his response to my question.
Well, first thing I do is turn off whatever those notifications are beeping in your background. I turn those off. That's the first thing I do.
I'm going to do that right now.
And by the way, I keep them off because that is a productivity killer.
Dude, I was horrified. I was so pissed off with myself that I let that happen. I didn't even think about turning the notifications off on my computer. Didn't even think about it. And it was ridiculous. And then the fact that he pointed out, like, I should have known just to turn it off, but I just wanted to keep moving. I was really upset with myself. To be honest with you, the interview went really well. After that, I got some great stuff from John Lee Dumas, but I was just freaking mad. So I shelved the project at that point. I was like, you know what? Who needs another podcast anyway? What do I have to offer? So I just moved on. So you know how I meet with small businesses every day. I was meeting with this business. It was a small business that stored boats and RVs. And I went to check out her website and social media before I went to the meeting. And it was basically stale, really uninviting. No reason to go to her social media or website. And that doesn't help you bring in customers. So I walk in there. She's really nice. And first question is like, so who's your customer? And she said what they all say, everybody. It's not everybody. So I was like, so do I have to have a boat or an RV to be your customer? And she laughed and she said, yeah. And I go, so when those ladies are driving these boats and RV down here to drop them off in store, she's like, no. It's mostly guys. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when these guys are driving these boats or RVs down from Boulder or Fort Collins to come here, and she's like, no, it's not that. They're mostly, all my customers are within like a 10 to 15 mile radius. I'm like, all right, cool. So we have the start of your target customer. We know you have to have a boat or an RV. We know it's mostly guys, and it's in your local area. And she's like, yeah. So I moved on. And I was talking to her about her website and social media. And I was like, you should really start posting on that, updating it, doing some videos. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, why? And she goes, I'm embarrassed. She goes, what if I mess up or say something wrong? I said, you will, and you're going to get better at it. And by the end, it'll be like old hat to you. And she's like, you don't understand. You're in the media. I've heard you on the radio. Everything you do sounds so good. And I just was like, no. That's not how it is at all. So I told her the JLD story. And then I thought of another story. A mentor of mine, Billy Jean from Billy Jean is Marketing. I went to his very first meetup he had. It was like 3 years ago in San Diego. And he challenged us. In fact, he said, your business needs to start doing videos now or your business is going to die. So I accepted the challenge. I said to myself, when I get home, I'm going to do 30 videos in 30 days, no matter what. By midnight, I'm going to post a new video every day. So I did exactly what I did with the podcast. I got all the equipment, bought lighting off of Amazon. I went down in my basement. I put together this studio down there, and I'm like, this is going to be great. I even had a logo of my company up behind me. I'm like, this is going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, I'm going there to do video number 1. And I set up the camera. I do the lighting like it said on the video on YouTube to how to set it up. And I could never really get it right. It was a mess. And it just never looked good. So then I went and bought all these tarps, these painting tarps. And I stapled them up in my basement all around. And so now it's like really freaking dark down there. I even have one over the window. And it's even worse. I mean, so I go, okay, by midnight, I'm going to put this video out. So I go do this video. I wanted to make short videos. These were going to be like 5 or 6 minutes. This video went on for 20 minutes. It was really bad. The content was good, and I love that video because I was talking about my dad. But you go back and look at it right now, it looked like an episode from Dexter. The lighting was just like that. I was standing in there, and I was looking at all these tarps, and I'm just like, man, this is horrible. So anyway, I posted that video. And then I go the next day. I was like, I'm going to get this better, move the lighting around. I do video number 2. That's crap. Video number 3. Again, same thing, horrible video. And I'm like, man, something's wrong here. I can't make this work down here. Maybe I'll try outside. So I went outside and started doing these videos outside on my phone. And it was a little bit better. I was more comfortable. I'm outside all the time. I love it out there. The lighting's good. It was okay. It didn't look like an episode from Dexter anymore, so I was happy about that. So I started doing more videos. I'm like 6 or 7 videos in. I found out someone at my work has a degree in producing video. In fact, she has a couple of videos with over millions of views on it. Like one has like 4.5 million. The other's like 2. Like she's really good at it. She's very creative. I didn't know that. So that kind of proves you need to like check with your inner circle and see what your friends can do. And by the end, the last video I posted, I'm not going to give myself an A, but it was a good solid B. The message was good. It was short and concise. Had some cool little production elements in it. It was a pretty good video. So I ended that project. And it's funny, when you do a project like this, you learn a little something. I hashtag these videos, each and every one of these videos. And if you go Google right now, that hashtag, which I'm not going to tell you because it's going to spoil the surprise, you'll find those videos. Even though I've pulled them down and made them private, it would take me forever to go out there and pull all of the tweets and everything down. I told her about the challenge. She's like, I want to see one. So I sent her a link to the first video, and she just was laughing her head off. And she's like, the content's pretty good, but you sucked. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So this is how things really come full circle for me. Do you know those memories that pop up on Facebook? Well, a few years ago, I posted this. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. It's a quote from Tony Robbins. It says, winners take imperfect action while losers are still perfecting the plan. Let me say that again. Winners take imperfect action while losers are still perfecting the plan. Well, guess what? I'm a freaking winner. And that's why you're getting this podcast today. Imperfect action, raw, unscripted, off the cuff. Here you go. And what I realized is I was trying to be something that I'm not. I'm kind of an impulsive guy. I like to keep things super simple and real. And so that's what I'm going to be here on the Sport of Marketing podcast for you. JLD said, my show's a variety show, so I'll be doing a lot of episodes like this. I'm going to mix in some interviews that I've already got set up for you. We got some great business leaders. We also got some athletes. It's going to be real fun. And I promise when I do those interviews, I'm going to turn off the notifications. And maybe in some of the episodes, I'm going to share some of my personal beliefs, even though I've been advised not to. That's never stopped me before. So it's going to be fun and maybe a little bit of a wild ride. We'll see. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I really, really, really appreciate it. The Sport of Marketing Podcast, Episode 1, the Kickoff Edition, in the books. That's win number 1 for moi. So I guess the moral of the story is go out there, take some imperfect action. And until next time, go out there, be awesome. Hey, thanks again for listening. If you'd like to go ahead and subscribe, share it with your friends, give us a review. If you want to see how we're helping businesses every day, just go to thesportofmarketing.com or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @Chris Braden Live. Now go out there, be awesome. I'll catch you next time.